Welcome to This Week in the World of Wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Monday Night Raw review. And I'm gonna level with you guys. I had fun with this Raw. I enjoyed this Raw. I don't think I'm gonna come down too hard on it. I think my biggest problem with this Raw was more structural than anything else. I think the content was on point. I think we still had some moments of consistency, which were really nice to see. I liked the progression of certain stories, certainly. But I just think the way that it was all put together, the final image, may have left a little bit to be desired. I mean, you've got Payback in 2 weeks, and AJ Styles and Roman Reigns is the main event of that show. And yet, judging by the past few WWE shows on TV, you know, Raw, SmackDown, all that stuff, I don't really know if you'd get that impression. But really, to me, I would qualify this as a nitpick. I don't mean to come out as overly pernicious of this show. I just think it had some structural issues. But I'm more interested to know what my cohort and commentary thought. Ashton, what did you think of this Raw tonight?
Yeah, you know, this Raw really did feel like, I guess, a filler show. Like, it was almost like it felt like a house show, and I think that kind of came across because of the fact that they were in London and the pre-taped Raw and all that kind of stuff. But it was a good show. I just wish they would have done more with it.
I think I'm with you there. I think I'm with you there. Like, I liked what they did. I just think they were at, you know, a certain speed. Say that maybe they were only going, I don't know, 30 miles an hour, and I thought maybe they could have done 60, 70, 80, you know, just get more out of it.
I used like a baseball analogy where you had two guys get on base, and now you've got a third guy up to bat, and he basically just gets walked rather than actually doing anything useful. Like, you're still set up to be in really good shape because the bases are loaded, but that third guy didn't really do anything impressive.
Yeah, I agree with you. But with that said, let's get right into our first segment. Let's see if we can delve into this a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Heat of the night. And I don't really have any heats tonight, and honestly, I don't even know how I would articulate any nitpicks that I had. I mean, again, for me, it comes down to structural issues. Like AJ and Roman had a promo exchange tonight. I actually liked it. I'm actually enjoying that these guys are restrained, and not only are they restrained, Ashton, notice how with this particular program, and I say this as a compliment, we haven't gone down the stereotypical route. We haven't had Roman and AJ teaming up against a common adversary. We haven't had like random 6-man tags. It's really just been these guys talking to each other, and we see their different mentalities about this title match coming to the forefront. I like that. I do. I think it's really cool. And I liked what Anderson and Gallows did tonight. You know, they go from the Usos a week prior to jumping Roman Reigns and attacking him, and they do establish that connection. Commentary explicitly states, you know, they were friends, they were, you know, road buddies, you know, really close in New Japan. They don't come out and say Bullet Club, but you know they're really close, and anybody that watches products outside of the WWE, they make that connection naturally. So I like all that stuff. I almost feel like that would have been a better punctuation to this show. You know, just AJ kind of looking on perplexed while Anderson and Gallows have made this moment for themselves.
Yeah, dude, if you wanted to send your crowd home wanting to see more, that would have been the way to do it.
I mean, it's such a great image, right? I mean, Anderson and Gallows standing tall while AJ's on the ramp looking perplexed.
I think AJ would have needed to do a better job of emoting his confusion, though, because as it is, he really just kind of looked stone-faced. Like, you couldn't tell if he was happy or if he just had a really good poker face or if he was confused or what. I think he would have needed to do a much better job at emoting his perplexion if they would have wanted to close the show with that.
And I would agree with you there. I would certainly agree with you there. And that's my thing. Again, that's the main event of Payback, and it doesn't really have that main event feeling. Not because the guys aren't doing quality work, but just because the placement on the card.
It's because of the way it's been treated. It's so weird. Roman Reigns was being highlighted constantly, building up to Fastlane and not so much WrestleMania, because they kept him off most of those shows, but the Roman feud was being built up like crazy for WrestleMania, even if he wasn't on most of the shows. And now he wins the title, and they completely take the spotlight off of him. Now, here's my thing. I don't mind them kind of reeling back a little bit on the Roman spotlight.
Right.
But I mean, he's still your main event, and I still would want to see him wrestle. Like, he hasn't wrestled a lick since the WrestleMania match, has he?
He had that one tag match with Bray Wyatt against the League of Nations last week.
You know what? I noticed Bray's absence this week too, because his last 2 weeks with him having this face turn have been exceptional and exciting, and have really gotten me psyched for his future. His injury really hurts right now. It's really bad timing.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, honestly, I want to say that I'm glad you broached the topic, because as far as conversation goes, I think we need to talk about it. But on a depressing front, I almost wish that I could have kept forgetting that, yeah, he did get injured in Milan, doing a match, oddly enough, against Roman Reigns. So I think he's still working.
That's the third year in a row that somebody has gotten injured on the first show of the European tour.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy to think about, man.
Wasn't it? I don't remember who it was last year, but I know 2 years ago it was Brian's head injury.
Right.
Man, it's been not good.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it sucks when anybody gets injured, but knowing that Bray was just venturing into the new and it seemed very positively received to just have the momentum cut out from under you. And yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, Roman competed last week, but it was in a tag match, and it was a different kind of tag match, and I like that. But this really does feel like a mid-card kind of feud because of its placement on the card and just how it's being treated, at least in my eyes.
Yeah, dude, that's what it is. This is 3 European tours in a row that the first night saw someone get injured. The one that happened most recently was Seth Rollins.
Oh, that was okay.
Yeah, there have been that was November of this past year, and then the one before that was April, and that was when Brian got his concussion, and now it's April again, and Bray gets his injury. I don't know what it is exactly, but I've heard anywhere from a month to 2 months, and I don't want to know if it's more than that, because I don't want to go without Bray for that long. Now that he's face, it's amazing what a simple turn can do for the interest of a character, because now with his face turn, my interest in his character went completely upside down. Like, if before it was towards the bottom of the barrel, now it's up near the top of it.
And I agree with you, and I think that's because it breathes in new possibilities. And here's the thing, him gone for a month or 2 months, or God forbid even longer, which I don't even want to think about, his re-entry has got to have some oomph to it, because you're going to have to make up for lost time. And, as far as Roman goes and AJ, rounding out that discussion, I'm liking what these two are doing. It feels a bit different, because right now they're just talking to each other and they really haven't had any physicality. In fact, I'll say this too, I think it was clever for WWE to introduce physicality into this feud in a different way, not having AJ and Roman directly, but again, Anderson and Gallows. There's just something missing to this whole thing. So, I mean, yeah, I guess, again, it goes back to structural issues. That would be my only nitpick. Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens, I love both guys to death, but that's not, really the feud there is Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, respectively, neither of which are a main event feud, yet. I think Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn always has the potential to be, but it's not, in WWE's eyes, quite there yet. So, I don't know. Yeah, it just goes back to structural issues for me, but I'm curious, do you have any actual heats of the night or any nitpicks of your own?
No, I don't have any full-blown heats of the night or even really any nitpicks. There were just 2 things that happened on this show that really disappointed me.
Okay, let's go through them.
First one is, we had an 8 women's tag team match, 4-on-4, and you had Becky on one side and no Emma on the other.
Yeah, that disappointed me too.
I wonder if it was like maybe they have like separate touring rosters and Emma wasn't on the roster that was in London tonight.
That had to be it, dude, because I did hear there was speculation that Shane might not have been on this show tonight. Of course he was in the end, because there were other shows going on, so Emma must have been working another show. And I'll give commentary credit. I mean, at least they referenced the Emma-Becky Lynch beef on commentary. I guess Emma had some kind of Instagram post pretty much saying, yeah, me and Becky traveled similar paths, but look at what she got and look at what I got, and it just wasn't working out for me. So I actually credit commentary on that front, but it is definitely disappointing. I agree.
And then the other disappointment is that we are going to be getting the tag team #1 contendership tournament finals at Payback. I'm really, really disappointed by that, because I was hoping that match would happen next week on Raw, and we would have the Vaudevillains winning because of the Dudley Boys interference, and then we would have 2 tag matches at Payback with the Vaudevillains challenging for the tag titles against the New Day, and then the Dudley Boys against Enzo and Cass. But now, I mean, the Dudley Boys aren't on the card, the tag team champions aren't on the card that we know about, and we're going to get Enzo and Cass versus the Vaudevillains at Payback. I'm not really a big fan of that.
Yeah, that's so weird. Again, it goes back to structural issues. I don't really know what the end game is, because now the winners of the tournament, when do they get their tag title shot? The next night on Raw? Because, I mean, maybe that would be a way to build interest for Raw. Do they get it at Extreme Rules, the next pay-per-view after Payback here? We don't know. It is very interesting to me, too, because I would have gone with your line of thinking. You do the finals next week on Raw. You have the Dudleys screw over Enzo and Cass, and then boom, right there, you have 2 tag team matches. You could do 3 tag team matches if you want to do the Usos versus Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, but WWE doesn't seem like they're going to do that either. I mean, there are still 2 weeks. So that could change, but very curious what WWE is doing in regards to their tag team division right now, because, again, a lot of great pieces are in place. It just all comes down to the execution.
Yeah. So those are my 2 big disappointments tonight. I don't want to call them heat of the night or nitpick or anything like that, but
right.
I wanted to kind of get that off my chest because the rest of the night was a pretty solid show.
I completely agree. Yeah,
I think this was a great. This show is a great example of a show that would have been really, really, really good if it only would have been 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because it really did start to feel like it was dragging quite a bit.
Yeah, that this wasn't the kind of show, I think, that had the kind of self-forwarding momentum to be 3 hours worth of engaging content.
Like the last 2 shows have been.
Right, exactly. Honestly, this would have been a phenomenal episode. This was an episode of SmackDown.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think, again, with some of the structural choices that they made, this even felt more a little bit like an episode of SmackDown. That's not necessarily a put down, because I've been enjoying SmackDown lately, but I have to agree with you. 3 hours, especially for shows like these, it's not horrendous. It just really drives the air out of you after a while and when you get close to that end. But like you said, there was good stuff on this show, so let's start to celebrate here in our next segment. Let's get into our Monday Night Raw review, and we open up with a talking segment, yes, but a different air about it because it's the Ambrose Asylum. I like that a lot. I like that it's not even Shane. I do like that it's an actual superstar, not John Cena or Roman Reigns, kind of opening things up. It's Ambrose's new talk show, and his guest turns out to be Shane McMahon. I mean,
You're
Ambrose.
Gonna skip over the Dean Ambrose comedy hour?
Well, yeah, I mean, Dean, yeah, funny guy, man. And this crowd very receptive to him. I mean, Dino chants, all that stuff. And yeah, Dean proved himself to be quite a comedian here, Ashton.
I mean, do you remember the joke that he told?
I don't remember the joke that he told, honestly.
Okay, yeah, he brought up something about how there was a sea monster that was seen, and then he said that he didn't know that Braun Strowman learned how to swim.
That's right.
Yeah, so I thought that was clever. And then, of course, he brings up, that it's not easy to do this talk show thing, and then he has to give credit to guys like Jimmy Fallon and James Corden, and then he points out James Corden's parents who were in the crowd, and then he brings out Shane McMahon.
Yeah. So Shane comes out, pretty much talks about how, he's digging what's being done on the Ambrose Asylum. Ambrose's like, oh, I appreciate it. And then we get to talking about Shane, running Raw, and the crowd again gives Shane, you still got a chance. I mean, man, Shane just got to be like, damn, people everywhere. Like, I really am one of the most over people on this roster. And
if it wasn't for the New Day, Shane would be the most over babyface on the roster.
Completely agree with you. And that's insane to think about. And you know what, though? I think WWE is really using it to their advantage with him running Raw. I mean, we can always say, oh, the more weeks he does it, the more meaningless the WrestleMania match becomes. To me, it became meaningless the moment Undertaker went over, because you built up everything. But at least now we're having Shane in charge, and we're just running with it, and it seems to be going well thus far. And Ambrose and Shane, they talk about it. Ambrose talks about the risk that Shane took at WrestleMania to try and beat The Undertaker, and they show the clip full on, which kind of surprised me because I'm like, isn't that kind of the value of your network? But they show it, and Ambrose is like, wow, it really is something when a guy can do something that makes me pause and go, what was he thinking? And then Shane's like, well, weirdly enough, that's actually the best compliment I've ever gotten. Thank you. And, so that's going on. But then Kevin Owens comes out. Because let's remember, he isn't really feeling too good about Shane McMahon right now with how things went last week. Shane putting Kevin Owens in a match with Cesaro, first of all, for the number one contendership for the Intercontinental Championship, not honoring his just automatic return match. And then when he's venting and he just happens to slip in a threat to Sami Zayn there, Shane McMahon ejects him from the building. So Kevin Owens says, you talk about this new era, Shane. It's not a new era to me. It's just another power-hungry McMahon keeping all the great talents down, more or less. And he comes in and he's taking up issue with Shane, saying, look, I did what I did because everybody knows that Sami Zayn doesn't deserve to be anywhere near the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I know it, you know it, everyone knows it. And, before Kevin can continue to elaborate on his point, Sami Zayn comes out and he pretty much rubs in Kevin Owens' face, oh, you're just mad because I got here before you did, and just, you're just always been jealous of me, and just kind of taunting Kevin Owens, like, I got here, I did all this stuff before you did, and that makes you mad, doesn't it? So we're going down that trip again, but then Chris Jericho comes out, who has quite possibly the line of the night, telling Sammy this isn't about his stupid feelings. This is about the idea that, the most, just the greatest show in Raw.
I love the frickin' Jericho line, because that was, like, I think he said your stupid idiot emotions or something like that. Like,
your stupid idiot feelings, he said, yeah.
Dude, second grade Chris Jericho is the best.
It's amazing, actually. I want to actually converse.
Stupid idiots!
You're a stupid man! A stupid, stupid man! It's just great.
He uses the word idiot a lot now, too, I noticed.
He really does. He knows how to pepper it in there. And, Jericho also has issues with Shane because, you took the highlight reel away from me, and this whole Ambrose Asylum, it's a joke, and Jericho's just running it down, and then he just goes to the whole thing with Shane, is that, I know you've been gone a while, but I didn't like you then, I don't like you now, I am the best in the world at what I do. Do you understand what I'm saying to you right now? And Shane's just like, yeah, I understand. And, Jericho goes through this whole thing. Things are...
hell out, man, right?
Yeah, exactly. Shane's just like, whoa, tone it down a little. Things start to become tense, which Shane himself even notes. And Ambrose quells the situation. He's like, hey, watch the plant. And I'm so glad that somebody was thinking about the plant's feelings. I was getting a bit nervous over there. And then Shane takes the opportunity to eject himself, but not before making 2 matches for Payback. And that's another thing I got to credit this Raw for. We got 3, well, actually, really 4 if you count the Tag Team Tournament Finals that you noted in our Heat of the Night segment. 4 more matches added to Payback. On one episode of Raw, that's really impressive for them to do with a show, because I feel like so often WWE can be lax about their shows that aren't WrestleMania or one of the big 4, and be like, oh, we'll just round it out eventually. They covered a lot of ground tonight, at least in that area. And Shane announces that we're going to get both Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. So we're starting this, it's happening. And Shane ejects himself. And I think that's pretty much how this segment ends, because I know what the first actual match is, but nothing else really, I think, happens here. So what did you think of this opener, Ashton?
I dug it. I thought that the energy was on point. I thought that there were, cute little interactions between these guys. I love Jericho's interaction with Sami Zayn, just like we talked about a couple seconds ago. And I really like that, and obviously we haven't talked about it yet, but we're about to get to it. I love that rather than being like, oh, 2 guys that hate each other against 2 other guys that hate each other, tag team match, playa. We didn't do that. No, we actually did the opponent exchange, where the 2 guys that are feuding with each other face off with the other 2 guys that are feuding with each other.
Exactly. I really like that too, dude. And again, I think I even mentioned this to you in conversation. I like that it even maintains a sense of logical consistency, because if you guys remember, the last SmackDown episode that we had, the main event was Sami Zayn versus Chris Jericho, but we never got a definitive ending to that match because Owens ran in and then Dean Ambrose ran in, and then me and Ashton just presumed, oh, we're going to get our tag match on Raw then. But no, we do pretty much a redo of, these matches, but we get definitive conclusions this time around. I really, really appreciate that. That, to me, is solid. So, with that said, let's get right into the first match. Sami Zayn versus Chris Jericho. a really nice back and forth here between these two. I think Sammy has such a connection with the crowd. He's automatically going to be that great kind of babyface foil to the heel work that Jericho's doing right now. And speaking of the heel work of Jericho, I think it's been remarkably on point. And you get those two together, and what you really get as an end result is just a really fun opening match. I mean, what did you think, Ashton?
Yeah. Jericho Zayn was good. Honestly, it's one of those things where I read the spoilers. I saw some spoilers for this show. I didn't know everything that was going to happen, but I saw some vague stuff. And I did see that Jericho beat Zayn, and I was really frustrated with that. But the way that it happened, I was down for. And I also think that, in hindsight, having Sammy win a bunch on Raw kind of takes away from the whole underdog character. So this makes a lot of sense for a lot of different reasons.
Oh, I completely agree. I think this was the smartest possible resolution because, look, you're talking about a guy in Jericho that he beat AJ Styles at WrestleMania. And granted, while he did eat the pin from AJ the following night on Raw in that Fatal 4-Way, that was a Fatal 4-Way match. And I think they're trying to build up Jericho more in a one-on-one context as a heel. Yeah. And then you look at Sami Zayn, I think all of your points were on point. Sami Zayn is that sympathetic babyface. He is that underdog character. Hell, he even calls himself the underdog from the underground.
Right.
And I think him losing, especially with it protects Zayn, but it builds up that sympathy because you don't know. I don't know how long Jericho's sticking around for this run. I don't know when a Fozzy tour is going to, rear its head. But Sami Zayn and Jericho may work again down the road. But I just think it's smart because the more that Sami Zayn loses, but, loses in a way like, I fought my heart out. I came close. He shows off his ability. He makes that connection. The more the wins are really going to matter. The more the wins, I think, are really going to pop, especially if there's like a championship or some kind of really profound stake, on the line, a contendership or entry into this kind of match. That's just the kind of career I see Sami Zayn having. So, yeah, I really enjoyed the booking. Thought it was very sound in this match.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, up next, let's talk about Mauro Ranallo's interview with AJ Styles, where Anderson and Gallows show up.
Yeah, AJ Styles said, I like the way you use the word phenomenal because, Mauro Ranallo points out the phenomenal rise that AJ has had. And he goes to talk about, the fight that he's going to bring to Roman Reigns at Payback, for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and what this opportunity means to him. When, to your point, we get Anderson and Gallows, they cut in. And, it's a very genial atmosphere, very celebratory. Oh, I'm back with my boys. They thank AJ for putting in a good word for them, and they say they're going to take full advantage of it. Carl Anderson says, it was the dream to get WWE. There's no turning back now. And, they just all talk about the place that they found themselves in here. AJ gunning for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, Anderson and Gallows having made an immediate impact. And, I really liked how WWE handled this, and I actually liked how they handled it throughout the night. I feel like when you have a babyface like AJ, and maybe they have a prior relationship with a heelish entity that's come in, whether it's a single person or in this case Anderson and Gallows, a tag team, the kind of stereotypical route is, I don't really condone those actions. I don't know what happened to you guys, but whatever. But no, they embrace. Well, look at what these guys did in New Japan. Of course they're going to be friends. It's kind of like that DX kind of factor almost. They may be on different playing fields, but they're always going to have each other's backs. Yep. And I really like that. I really like that because I was like, oh man, I'm hoping I'm not going to grow. And, and AJ's going to be like, no, guys, what you're doing is wrong. And these people matter and we can do things on our own ability. I'm like, don't be that guy, AJ. I think they're walking the line with AJ as a babyface, at least for this program, very well right now. And I have to give a thumbs up to that.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, like I said, the segment that happens not next, but immediately after the following match, when the Bullet Club guys attack Roman, I just wish that we would have had more clarity and that AJ would have just shown more and expressed more that he was confused by it so that there wouldn't be so much like, oh, maybe they're going to turn AJ heel and they're going to have him turn out to be the master of the Bullet Club and all this stuff because I really, really don't want that to even be an option.
Yeah,
if anything, I would almost appreciate it if the only reason Roman wins at at Payback is because the Bullet Club attacks AJ instead.
See, and I'm thinking that might happen Because it was very interesting throughout the night, how AJ was really adamant, particularly to Roman, which, again, I like that, too. I liked
And I
how...
love the reason he gave, too. I don't need those guys to take your title from you.
Exactly. I loved it too. Because it's not even like, oh, it's wrong what they did or this and that. It's like, no, I don't need them to do it. I'm the phenomenal AJ Styles. I can do this on my own. But I'm starting to wonder the same, Ashton, if that's not how it's gonna go down. Because AJ could just be like, hey, I told you guys I don't need this. Or maybe it won't even be that they attack AJ, but they try and help AJ. AJ just kind of says, get out. It's very forceful, like, get out. And then with AJ distracted, maybe Roman will capitalize. I just see a miscommunication arising between Anderson and Gallows and AJ Styles, and that's how Roman capitalizes. Not necessarily heelish, but, retains his title all the same. But, yeah, I am liking how they're handling this. I agree with you. I'm hoping it's not, oh, AJ was in on it the whole time and it was a plan, because as cool as that would be in the moment, I like that these guys are kind of doing their own thing at first. If you want to bring them together later, I'm always down for that. But I think there's a better way to do it than right now with this particular story.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. Not even going to touch it. Up next, second match of the night, Enzo and Cass versus the Dudley Boys.
Yeah, what did you think of this, Ashton?
Well, before the match, we had an Enzo and Cass promo, as per usual. Of course, they do their shtick. I'm not even going to repeat it. But then we do this cool little thing where Enzo has this riddle. He talks about how end is in friend, and lie is in believe, and good is in goodbye, but dud is in the Dudley Boys. Like, oh man, I wish I could, kind of be looking at this and be like, oh my god, Enzo Amore is a freaking genius. But this is some like grade level psychology.
It may be, but I think this just shows the delivery is everything. Because Enzo's delivery is so on point.
I think I was just expecting something more than just, and there's the word dud in Dudley Boys. Like, that just feels so cliche.
And, I can understand that. And you know what? It's funny, because I'll even fully admit that I'm probably being colored here by my own bias. But I feel like if it was anybody, like if Roman Reigns tried doing something like that, it would be Grown City for me. But I think Enzo's energy and just how he projects, and again, just how... Really,
I think Enzo's energy is what raised my expectations, though, because like he's talking about how you can't have friend without end, and you can't have a believe without lie, and that kind of stuff. And I'm just thinking, oh man, what's he setting up for? This is going to be huge. This is going to be awesome. This is Enzo Amore, the master of the microphone. They call him, Smack Talker Skywalker. What's he going to say here? And then it's just Dud and Dudley's. Oh.
Yeah. I will say, I found his Ascension burn on SmackDown to be far better.
Oh, yeah, that was gold.
That was visceral, man. That was savage right there. This wasn't so bad, though. I mean, again, I just love... I don't know how Enzo paces himself on the mic. Again, I go back to the delivery. I mean, I still say about these two guys, and I know you still are with me, even if this promo didn't exactly, the punchline didn't connect as fully as you would have liked. There are guys that people are just going to memorize their promo material forwards and backwards. And
Roman and AJ, both.
Beg pardon?
Roman and AJ, both.
Yeah. And I really, even if this wasn't their finest hour in terms of the punchline, I still kind of like the wordplay and, what they were doing with it. And I'll tell you, because Paul Heyman doesn't show up all the time, I'm almost tempted to say that Enzo may be the best mic worker on the main roster right now. I just love what the guy does. It's just amazing to me. Yep. So they do their stuff. Dudley's come out, and we have our match. And what's so funny about this, it's a great match, fun matchup, tag team tournament, so it has that air of excitement about it. This match has meaning to it. It's not just going to be a match for the sake of a match. And they go and they do it. And Enzo, I like how they make him look. Bubba and Devon kind of taking advantage of him a little bit, picking him apart. Just kind of thinking, this is it. This is it. And yet, the thing is, these guys, they get the win. Because one, Cass gets the tag in. And damn, does he still have an amazing hot tag. Just
yeah,
so
that
much
hasn't
fun.
changed.
Yeah, that hasn't changed at all. So explosive, so fun. And really, the interesting thing to note, if you look at this program so far, the Dudleys' argumentation has been, we're this great tag team. We're legends. We paved the way for Enzo and Cass. Well, I'll tell you what paved the way. The miscue that the Dudleys had in this match paved the way for Enzo and Cass to get the win and advance to the finals. And that's what I found interesting. You've got this team that, likes to stand on their legendary credentials, and yet it was they that had the miscommunication and not the quote-unquote upstarts in Enzo and Cass.
Yeah.
I like that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
And
that's a solid point, man. I didn't even think about it that way. Smart.
Yeah. And, commentary even kind of brought it up in their own way. I don't know if it was Byron or what. They said, you don't really see that happen often with the Dudleys. So I find it funny that they're talking this big game about how they're here and Enzo and Cass are only there because the Dudleys are, and yet you're looking like amateur hour because you didn't properly communicate with your own partner. Meanwhile, Enzo and Cass's communication was not only on point, it was so strong to the point where they actually won the match. So I don't know. I doubt that that's going to be played on. It was probably just a one-time mess up by, Bubba to Devon. And then, maybe at the finals at Payback, we still will have that run in, just a different venue than what we were anticipating. I just thought it was a cool little note, whether they did that deliberately or not. So.
Absolutely. I think, I don't know. It's hard to say whether they went deliberate with it or not, but it's interesting that they would even go that route. And like I said, I'm kind of disappointed by the whole setup that they have for the finals of the tournament, but I do feel like the Dudleys are going to end up costing Enzo and Cass that match.
I have to agree with you. I don't think this program's necessarily over. And yeah, I think screwing Enzo and Cass out of an opportunity at the WWE Tag Team titles, one, makes them incredibly sympathetic, which I think will continue kind of that NXT aura they had about them. This really great package team had everything, but weren't really able to cinch the moment. And I think you can kind of continue that trend here. And I think it's good mileage to continue the feud, because look, you're going to need to do something after the babyfaces have gone over here. I feel like the onus was kind of on the heels because they were saying, oh, Enzo and Cass, they're stupid. We paved the way for them. Well, they beat you clean, and it was, a straight-up matchup. So I think them taking the tag title opportunity away from Enzo and Cass, that still gives the feud some legs. So I definitely agree with you. That needs to happen.
Yeah. So do you feel like maybe this might have been a little bit of a kind of jump in the shark where they could have maybe just had the Dudleys go over in a cheaty way, kind of like what they did with Jericho earlier? Do you think this was the right call?
I do. Here's the thing. I think there's going to be a debate about this, right, Ashton? Because I think if you're looking to tell a story, it may have been better for the Dudleys to go over because they are the heels, and I think it's the babyfaces, especially when they're this newer team, this much newer team as it relates to the Dudleys, that have a point to prove, to this legendary, veteran team. On the other hand, though, if you're looking at, man, these new talent call-ups, particularly of NXT. I mean, NXT is representing right now, particularly in the tag division. So I think it really comes down to what you want. Do you want NXT to be properly represented, which I do feel like this tag team tournament has done to their credit, or do you want a properly told story in that same division, but between the Dudleys, a veteran team, and Enzo and Cass? I don't really know if there's a wrong answer to that, because I'm personally happy with the way the bracket's set out. I do agree with you. I think the final should have happened on Raw, but I am very happy with how the bracket's set out. But at the same time, I think Enzo and Cass have already kind of proved their point. I don't really see any reason why, logically, they wouldn't move on to the next one. You know what I mean? So it's difficult. I mean, where do you sit on that issue, man?
I don't know. I feel like, you said that there might be a debate, but I don't think there's going to be. I think I'm one of the very few people that thinks that the Dudley Boys winning might have been a better choice, but I don't know.
Right. And I think
understand. I think the vocal majority and the vocal minority even will probably say no, Enzo and Cass had to win. But I'm just sitting here thinking, like, how often does bringing guys up from NXT and immediately having them win every match actually work?
And that's a great point too. And again, and I feel like you and I have been talking about this a lot more recently, but I don't think the truth of it has been exhausted.
And especially with a team like Enzo and Cass, who were always at their best in NXT when they were underdogs, just like with Sami Zayn.
Exactly. I mean, Enzo and Cass, first and foremost, are scrappers. They're not guys that are going to come in and immediately take over a space, by being dominant or whatever. And another thing is, too, and again, this is something we've talked about a lot lately, but I don't think it's really been exhausted yet, you need those credible heels because that's what strengthens your baby faces. I feel like Enzo and Cass long term, and see that's the thing. Short term, yeah, you're giving great shine to NXT. Oh look, 2 NXT teams in a WWE Tag Team Championship tournament finals. That's really cool, right? But long term, what are you really doing for the overness of these guys? Or the heel heat of the vaudeville, but more specifically, of course, the former. That's the babyface momentum of Enzo and Cass.
Yeah.
Had you had the Dudleys win and get that heel heat, and maybe they're just like, see, we told you, we paved the way for you, you're nothing, and Enzo, being the master of the microphone here, so slay something down, and we do another matchup, and then maybe they win that matchup, and then it's like, okay, you got your comeuppance. So I think that's the thing. I said earlier, do you want NXT to have shine, or do you want to tell a proper story? But I almost feel like you can achieve both, but just by really committing to the former. Because when you tell a great story, I think everything else kind of falls into place. And NXT really would shine, because then you'd really show, man, this is how great Enzo and Cass really are. So I totally see your point there, dude.
Yeah. All right. So now we can talk about this Roman segment. His music hits, and he is met with a chorus of boos, just like he's been for the last couple of weeks. Well, I say weeks, but that's an underestimation. It's been months. He gives kind of a weird promo. He does, of course, repeat the exact same lines that he's been saying since he won the title about, not a good guy, not a bad guy, but he's the guy. And then he brings up that, if anyone wants to talk about how we're in this new era, I'll punch you in the mouth and defend this, because this is the era of the Roman Empire, and it's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, very interesting that Roman would have a line like that to me.
I know, it felt like anti-Shane McMahon.
Yeah, it did. It did. Especially, when Roman got out of a feud with the freaking Authority. Like, this whole, anybody who thinks they're in a new era, I'll punch him in the mouth. That's something I would expect Triple H to say.
Yeah.
Hearing Roman say, like, aren't you supposed to be the face of this new era?
It sounded like something Triple H would say right up until the punch in the mouth part, because that's such a Roman thing to say.
That is true. That is
Roman
true.
/ Cena thing to say.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, I think my point is, aren't you kind of the face of this new era? Why do you want to punch people who are embracing this new era in the mouth? I don't freaking know. Not a bad promo, but then he goes on to talk about AJ Styles, great competitor, this great technical wrestler, has been a champion all over the world. People seem to really like him, whatever. But I'm the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and, just talks about the match of Payback. But then AJ comes out, and, again, we have this kind of establishment of mentalities. AJ comes from a place, he's traversed, the globe. He's wrestled all over the world, Ring of Honor, Japan, all these places, even though he doesn't explicitly name them, obviously. Anybody that's followed his career, where he's been. And he kind of talks about that. And he says, I've never been WWE World Heavyweight Champion, but, this is a big opportunity for me. And I'm a big match guy, and you're clearly a big match guy because you won at WrestleMania, and Roman did make that point, is I won at WrestleMania, I'm the world champion, and AJ says this is going to be a big match for me at Payback, but I know that I can beat you because I've been in matches like this many times throughout my career, and I'm going to give the fight of my life, and I'm going to come out on top. And Roman makes a point, do you guys like AJ Styles? And then crowd gives him a big pop, obviously. And then Roman more or less makes the point, these people may not like me, but they will respect me, especially when I retain this championship at Payback. And there was a line here that Roman had that I really liked. He said, I would rather be respected with this championship than liked without it. So it just shows how much Roman wants to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion and just kind of command that automatic respect that comes with being world champion than just being universally liked by everybody and having nothing to show for it. And now AJ takes the microphone in kind, though, and he says, I disagree. I think being liked and respected is what's going to make me a great WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And then his music hits, he leaves, and of course that's when we get Anderson and Gallows attacking Roman Reigns from behind. And AJ just kind of throws his hands up in the air, and he's like, guys, what is this? Come on. And, they make another statement. So what did you think here of this promo exchange between AJ and Roman Reigns?
I'm glad that you asked that exact question, because that's the exact answer that I was thinking of. This felt really bad. And I'm not saying like, oh, these guys suck or anything. They don't. But you can really tell that they're actually counting on Roman to be a great mic worker because they basically need him to carry someone like AJ in a a segment like this, and he is just not capable of doing that because this was such a like, oh, I respect you, but I'm gonna win. No, I respect you too, but I'm gonna win. Oh, I think it's good to be respected and liked. Oh, I'm respected, but I don't care if I'm liked. Like, it was so cookie cutter and so cliche and so reading lines off the script, and both people's lines were written by the same person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from there. Maybe that's another problem I've been having with this feud. I don't really know if it has the kick to it that I believe it's capable of having. Because I think you've got two quality workers here, and AJ and Roman, and I do
Well, I
think
mean,
they
yeah,
can
I
do
mean,
something
in the
special.
ring, these guys can both go without a doubt. Obviously,
Right.
AJ is millions times better than Roman in the ring, but I think it's really telling that AJ Styles is unquestionably hundreds of times better than Roman in the ring, and yet I wouldn't really say that Roman is that much better than AJ on the mic.
Yeah, there really isn't that much of a disparity there. I mean, I have said that I think AJ has been surprisingly decent on the mic, since coming
Yeah,
to WWE.
and it feels like Roman's mic work is getting more exposed now that he doesn't have Triple H to carry him through a promo segment anymore.
And see, I mean, how long, Ashton, have you and I been saying, we can make a lot of concessions. You want to make Roman Reigns the guy, fine. You want to put the world title on him, fine. I even came out and said, I just want to kind of get the run out of the way. Let's just give
Yeah.
him the belt, do whatever. I came out and I said that. But the two things that I feel like you and I have been saying consistently, one, heel turn. I feel like they gave a little bit. They're kind of doing that whole tweener route, whatever. But another thing, and I know I've definitely been saying this, and I think you've just been co-signing, you gotta know how to make a guy like Roman work a microphone. I don't expect this guy to come out and deliver monologues or really moving soliloquies or whatever. He works best to me in sound bites. That was very evident in the Shield. In the Shield, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, I feel like, were the really big talkers. And Roman Reigns would come in and say a few lines, but you know what? It worked. I think it had a natural flow to it. Here, when you're telling Roman, okay, you're working with a mic worker that really is about the same level as you, more or less. You've got to carry this, you've got to work the mic. You're right. Exposed is the perfect word because this guy is clearly, again, he had a great line with "I'd rather be respected than liked," in regards to the world title. But that's pretty much it. I mean, he's repeated the whole "I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy, I'm the guy" line 3 times now. Now, the first
You know
time,
what? Now that I think about it, Roman did a really good job of explaining Raw tonight. It wasn't a good Raw. It wasn't a bad Raw. It was just a Raw.
yeah, 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 I would agree with you there.
I wouldn't
I
say
do.
it was the Raw either, because if anything, that was last week.
Yeah, last week was so fucking good. But I feel like Roman's already kind of exhausted that material, and he's already done like
No,
the whole
but you know what
catchphrase.
though? If they're going forward with him as a heel, that is the perfect way to get heat on him. Continue to get even more heat on him is to have him repeat that line every time he opens his mouth.
You're right, because anybody who's repetitive. I mean, think about the Miz. One of his most obnoxious points is how repetitive he is with certain things that he does. So yeah, I guess the same tactic could work for Reigns. It's just I don't know, man, and it's not even like this. And I could tell from both of us, it's not a matter of this Roman Reigns hate or whatever. I'm feeling a disconnect right now that I know I shouldn't be feeling because you've got two again quality workers at least in ring, but you got to have mic work as part of any like main event program, and neither guy is really that exemplary in that department. So I don't really know what you do. I honestly, I think what this could benefit from, and I know they already did one with AJ Styles, maybe another one of those sit down interviews with Michael Cole on the YouTube channel, because I actually really like those. I think they're a great way to build up feuds. Maybe that could kind of help. But as far as the live stuff goes, I don't really know what the answer is. So.
Absolutely. So, what do you think of the post talking segment attack by Anderson and Gallows? Do you think Finn is pulling the strings? Do you think they're acting on their own volition? Do you think Roman's setting up a swerve, or do you think it is AJ after all? Or maybe do you think it's the Authority from behind the scenes?
Ooh, that's an interesting option.
That
Look
just
at
popped in my
you.
mind. I'm glad I thought of it randomly on the spot.
Yeah, look at you. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Since the WWE likes to give so much credit to themselves all the time, it might be the Authority.
Yeah,
Triple
here's the
H
thing.
brought him in from Japan to get the job done that he couldn't.
Exactly. Raw's been pretty entertaining tonight, and yeah, I would include this show tonight in that assessment because it wasn't awful by any means. Like you said, it was just a Raw. So I don't want to take the piss out of them and be like, "Oh, AJ's going to be behind it all along," because I feel like if I was salty, that would be what I'd say. But to give you a really sincere and thoughtful answer, maybe. See, but Finn's still NXT champion. God damn it. Maybe they want him working like multiple stuff at once. I mean, that is very much possible. I mean, Kevin Owens did it. That's the most prominent example that comes to my mind because obviously. But I don't know. If it could just be like, guys, what'd I tell you? I didn't want you to come out here. You told us, we don't answer to you. And then it could just be like, oh, well, who are they answering to? And then it's Balor Club, 444 life. Maybe they do that. I don't know, dude. I'm really hoping it's not AJ. I'm really hoping not because I'm enjoying him kind of doing his own babyface thing. And Anderson and Gallows not really immediately being thrust into a faction and kind of doing their own thing, I think is incredibly refreshing too. It's different. I like the take on it, and immediately going after the Usos doing that whole thing. But I don't know, because to me it's either going to be Balor Club or it is going to be AJ. The Authority, though, is an interesting theory. I mean, they attack Roman. I don't really know if they necessarily love AJ, but they may have like a Bray Wyatt mentality, anybody but you, Roman, and they may try and get AJ to accept being the guy. It's a tough question to grapple, especially with Shane in charge. The Authority may look for another way to kind of exert influence, and they may do that through Anderson and Gallows. It's a tough call, man. Right now, though, I'm just going to go with the simple answer. I think Anderson and Gallows are working on their own accord right now. It's just simply about making a statement. And then maybe ultimately, you know what? I'll put my chips down on Balor Club. I'll say, yeah, they're answering to Finn Balor. So what do you think?
Yeah, man. I don't know. The Authority idea is really intriguing to me, but secretly, not even really secretly, I'm pretty open about it. I really hope that it's Roman, but the fact that they attacked him tonight, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense. I mean, that's like the only decision that the WWE could make that would make no sense that I would still love, is having Roman be the representative for the Bullet Club.
Yeah, see, and here's the thing too, like now that we're talking more about it, like in one way I really like the attack, but now that again we're really talking about like, well, what could it be? I don't know if I'm kind of falling out of love with it a little bit because I like that Roman is kind of walking this tweener line, but how does it help when he gets attacked from behind? And then yeah, I mean AJ clearly is like, I had nothing to do with this, he stands firm,
Right.
plants his
I
feet
mean,
in the
I'm
ground.
pretty sure that at the very least they're going to end up attacking AJ at Payback, but that just kind of leads me to believe that it's just Balor behind the attacks.
Right, because then you can't go back and say, "Oh, well, it was Roman in my mind," because that's some TNA shit, dude. Like
Yeah.
if you have a team attack Roman and then they attack AJ, be like, "Ha! We were with Roman all along, and it was we've got all this unseen footage about how it all don't do that, man." Yeah, I mean Balor or the Authority to me would be the only two things. And or maybe WWE's just like, well, fuck it, Anderson and Gallows do what they want to do. They didn't like being disrespected by AJ. They're their own individuals. They're not anybody's muscle or whatever, and they take him out. I mean, that I think would also be pretty cool. Anderson and Gallows kind of running roughshod, doing whatever they want, especially with a face authority figure like Shane trying to reel him in. That could lead to some fun possibilities. But I don't think WWE brought Anderson and Gallows in to do that. I think they brought him in to establish something. I just don't know what that something is, but I think we're going to find out very soon. Maybe even in 2 weeks of Payback.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see, man. I think Payback is going to be the show that we find out what's going on with the Bullet Club. Although knowing WWE, they'll drag it out another month and we won't find out till Extreme Rules.
I completely agree.
They have a tendency of blowing off all the wrong things early and then holding off on all the wrong things and doing the slow burn.
They do, but I mean, to be fair, I mean, on paper, this Payback card is looking impressive, but I'm going to be so intrigued because, again, I've been enjoying Raw more lately, and I'm really hoping this pay-per-view can hit it out of the park, but booking decisions are going to be everything, I think, with this show, especially when it comes to AJ, Anderson, Gallows, and the whole WWE World Heavyweight Championship picture. So we'll see what they do.
Absolutely. All right, up next, we had Roman walking backstage, gets caught up to by Rich Brennan. AJ shows up to tell him he had no idea that the guys, Gallows and Anderson, were going to do that, but Roman isn't convinced. He still thinks that AJ set it up. And then, of course, because he's still a horrible babyface, really, he's just a really good heel disguised as a horrible babyface. But he pulls out the old one versus all tagline.
Yeah. I honestly, if they would have cut that out and you would have had AJ just walking off in frustration, just like that, just be like, "Oh, I don't believe you, AJ," and then AJ just walks off, I would have been like, "Great." But then Roman bringing in, "Oh, bring your family anyway, one versus all." Oh, Roman, no. And see, like, this is where I get frustrated now because he gets attacked from behind. He does the one versus all. But you just said you're not a good guy or a bad guy. You're the guy. So, I mean, that would imply, at least on the surface, that you're a tweener. But when you scratch that surface and you dig deeper, you're like, no, they're still trying to sell you on this babyface bullshit. Don't lie to me, WWE. I mean, this relationship's been going pretty well these last few weeks. Don't you fuck it up. You tell me what this is. Because if Roman's still a babyface, I mean, I'll grin and bear it. I won't like it, but I'll grin and bear it. But don't try and tell me that Roman's going to have this different swagger about him, only to keep pulling out that trite bullshit. It just, God, I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's frustrating. Roman's still frustrating. And it's not even Roman. I shouldn't even say Roman. Something there. Just not being utilized the right way. Like, why is he talking like this? Why is he cutting promos? I don't know. It's frustrating. It's really frustrating.
Oh, man. Well, up next was our third match of the night, Fandango versus Baron Corbin. And we had Ziggler on commentary talking about how Baron Corbin shouldn't have done that extra stuff that he did against Dolph, and how there was no reason for him to attack him out on the outside of the ring, and prove yourself in the ring, kid, and stuff like that. And in the meantime, Corbin is just destroying Fandango and actually throws Fandango at Dolph during the match, and then proceeds to win the match. And then Dolph tries to attack Corbin from behind, but Corbin still gets the upper hand and hits the end of days on Dolph on the outside. So, talk all you want, Dolph, but you tried doing something cheap as well by attacking Corbin from behind, and Corbin still whipped your ass.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for bringing that up, because that's an excellent point. But, more than that, you know what this match really illustrated to me?
What?
And, again, this is me being sincere. I'm not trying to go the whole Johnny Scumbag angle, whatever. Because I know I've said to me this is a great era for heels. And really, it's not just WWE. That just seems to be everywhere. And Baron Corbin is certainly in addition to that. You guys know, me and Ashton love Baron Corbin. We see a huge upside in him. But what this match really illustrated to me is just how over I am, with Dolph Ziggler. I know I've said it in the past, but, like, again tonight, Dolph Ziggler's just talking like, oh, if you're going to go after anybody, go after the best. The best. I have to remind myself that you're a former world champion. You want to talk about the best. Like, I get that that's the gimmick, right? Show off, steal girlfriends, all that stuff. But what's a gimmick if it has no basis in any kind of basis in reality? At least make it believable. Because right now, the only thing going for it is I think you still believe it, Dolph. If anything, you probably feel like you're underutilized. You should have main evented the past 5 WrestleManias. Which is cool. But then, yeah, I should have coupled that with your point. You try and jump Corbin from behind when he's celebrating. Oh, what? Because he bad body dropped Fandango on you? I mean, it was in the context of a match. He didn't do anything illegal. And Corbin still took your face off with a big boot and still hit the end of days on the outside. So on the Corbin side of things, let me just say I'm still loving the booking of Baron Corbin because he's getting shit done. And he can even withstand a baby face, which sounds really backwards, trying to jump him from behind. But, I mean, Ziggler, way to be a bitch. I mean, really, like, all I could hear, from Dolph Ziggler was, I'm such a bitch, and just try and jump Baron Corbin from behind. It just didn't work out. So, yeah, I'm over Dolph, man. Screw Dolph Ziggler. Go Baron Corbin. This was awesome. So, yeah, that's my review of this freaking segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, up next, let's just move right along. Oh, hey, John, do you want to talk about anything else right now for a change?
Oh, God. Was it the women's segment?
Worse.
Worse, huh? Well, yeah, I mean...
It involved a woman.
Okay.
And it also involved a large black man recovering from a suspension.
Oh, God.
And it was
We don't
also an anti-smoking ad.
We don't have to talk about this. This was an ad, right? We don't have to talk about this.
I mean, we talked about the Todd Chrisley Natalia Snickers thing, and we talked. Why is Natalia in every ad that they use? And we talked about the Natalia Subway thing, and we talked about the Natalia Tyson Kid chicken fries thing a few years ago. So why the hell not?
Yes, you're right. God fucking damn it. Can't you ever just leave your logic at home? Fuck's sake.
Why is Natalia
Right.
the ultimate advertiser for the WWE?
I don't know, because she's desperate for attention, and so she begs
Well,
Carano.
yeah,
Like,
she's the only one that says yes to everything.
yeah, like, oh, I'll do it. I'm a heart, I'll do it. God. Yeah, anti-smoking. Which, for any of you that actually brought a cigarette to your lips after seeing this, as a guy that doesn't smoke cigarettes, that actually hates cigarettes, I don't even blame you, okay? I probably would have smoked after this shit.
I mean, dude, I'm straight edge. I avoid cigarettes. I avoid anything like that, the carcinogenic. But this ad gave me cancer.
Yeah, it's like I remember seeing one thing on the internet when somebody like made a really idiotic post, and somebody replied, I'm so thankful for this post because my grandfather, always taught me the benefit of, never smoking and how to be healthy. And, he smoked and he got cancer and I watched him die of cancer and his words meant a lot to me, but it's really a shame because your post gave me cancer anyway. And like, that's how I feel. Like, we're guys. I mean, yeah, I'm not straight edge like you are, but we're still relatively healthy guys. We live that kind of lifestyle. We're not excessive in those kinds of things. But fuck's sake. After this, like, now he's like, oh, I can't believe Titus, like, everything he finishes of mine, my novels and this, even my selfies, which I didn't even think was possible. And I'm like, my pain. My fucking pain right
I wonder
now.
if Titus is gonna finish that for you, John.
Yeah, well, no, probably not. Probably not, because they're just going to let it fester like an open wound. And then Natalia's like, he even finishes mine. And then Titus just appears out of nowhere, which I'll be honest is kind of creepy. Sentences. Like, what the fuck? Where'd you come from? Dude, I don't know. Look, I'm happy that Titus is back to work. And I even commend the guy for being able to put a smile on his face after that bullshit. Like, oh, hey, guys, you thought you were going to get rid of me, but nope, I'm warming my way back up through anti-smoking ads. Getting that push, though. Dude, I don't know, man. Truth has been, well, I mean, they've always kind of been horrible. I mean, let's not mistake it here. But, I mean, their ads recently, my goodness, I don't even know, man. I don't even know why Natalia signed up for this. I know why Titus signed up for this. He didn't have any choice. He's just coming back from the doghouse. But, yeah, it was what it was.
Oh boy, yeah, this happened. So can we move on now?
Yeah, that was the best review. That really should have been the review. What the fuck did you let me talk about this? We could have been like, it happened. The end. Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, so up next we had a Miz TV. Or no, you know what? That wasn't yet. First thing we had was a backstage segment where the Miz and Maurice were walking and they saw spilled soda and they had some poor intern put his jacket down for them to walk on.
Yeah, which I really liked.
I
Again,
know. I knew you would like that because it was reminiscent of Bully Back.
Oh my god, bullying's amazing.
Turn
But
on
yeah,
water.
it's all that I have.
Turn on the water.
But yeah, this is great stuff. I mean, look, you guys know by now, I'm always looking to laugh at the misfortune of others, so long as it's not my misfortune being had. So this is quality stuff.
Oh my god. They call him Scumbag Johnny for a reason.
That's right. Let's move on.
Okay, up next was Miz TV, and of course Maurice is now introducing the Miz for Miz TV. And this, this whole segment really felt like a swing and a miss because London doesn't actually give a shit about the royal family.
No, they don't. And that's the thing. I mean, they're just as over it as we are when we get to hear about their royal weddings and whatnot. Like, they don't like it any more than we do, people. So we can
I feel like London was as offended by this promo as you and I get when like Rusev talks bad about Obama.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he has a point. Whatever,
It's
man.
like, no, yeah, speak your truth, bro. First
Yeah.
Amendment. Yeah, First Amendment for the win.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I don't know if this is going to make any sense to you, Ash, or any of our listeners. I'm trying to find the proper way to articulate it. I, I think the slip-ups that this segment had actually almost worked to its benefit, because you have, Miz running down, like you said, talking about the royal family, and, Maurice just pretty much calls one of the royal babies, generic, oh, what an adorable baby, but, generic, you couldn't tell that it was royalty. But when you look at Miz and I, we're royalty, and our I think they did refer to it as a child, is precious, and it turns out to be in their college championship. And she's all mine, Miz goes. And then Cesaro comes out, and Cesaro pretty much takes C, makes himself comfortable. Everybody rallying behind Cesaro. I like, too, somebody I think mentioned in the comments, or to one of us on Twitter, do you like the whole James Bond thing that they did with Cesaro? And I didn't know what they meant. But then this week, they did that little white circle they have at the beginning of Bond movies. He's like walking within it, which I thought was really cool. So it's like a Jason Statham 007 kind of thing. I dig it. Yep. And, somebody called Cesaro's current gimmick, like, I'm the best at wrestling kind of gimmick, and I have the look to match. And I think that works.
No, John, no. Who called it that? They're wrong.
Well, it was, I believe, Kyle Edwards of AV Club called it that on his latest Raw review, and he said he still loves the gimmick. So
Kyle Edwards, isn't that the name that they gave?
No, Kyle Fowl. Excuse me. Kyle Edwards is the man I hate. Kyle, yeah, Fowl.
Wow.
L.E. Yeah, I forgot. Kyle Edwards, you're a disgrace to your family, by the way. But yeah, Kyle Fowl.
My God.
So, look, he's no worse than Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is a cancer, but regardless. We'll get to. Well, actually, no. We already talked about Sami Zayn. He lost tonight, yeah.
But I don't know why you have to call him a cancer, considering we just had to deal with that goddamn commercial.
Well, yeah, that's so true. Look at me inadvertently connecting stuff. But yeah, I mean, look, whatever you want to call Cesaro's gimmick, I'm digging it, and a lot of other people seem to be
isn't
too.
It just the professional?
Maybe. But he's a professional wrestler, and he, I think he has this air about him that he does it better than most.
I get that, but I'm the best at wrestling is Triple H's thing.
I guess you're right. But again, regardless, Cesaro comes in, he interrupts, and ultimately it all leads to The Miz trying to recreate Liam Neeson's scene from Taken, and he botches the whole monologue. But why I think that works is that only The Miz believes that he's an A-list actor. It's a self-perception. Whereas in reality, we know that he's D-list at best. Maybe a bit higher, but not much more than that. So, to me, him botching a monologue of a movie that was very well received as the first Taken film, not so much its subsequent films, makes perfect sense. Because only he believes he's just really this good. He's this Oscar-worthy actor. We all know that he's crap and he's going to be straight to DVD for life. So, to me, it kind of works. And then Cesaro, retorts by quoting Roddy Piper, who had his birthday recently. I came here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and he was chewing bubblegum the whole time, during this thing, and he spits it out, and he says, I'm all out of gum. Now, I would have liked if Cesaro just went on the attack, but he just stared The Miz down. And then The Miz pulls the same thing with Cesaro that he did with Zack Ryder on SmackDown. Oh, I'd love to do it, but you're already in a scheduled match tonight against this man. And turns out it was going to be Rusev. I originally thought we were going to get Rusev versus Cesaro, which I was totally open to, because I think, two quality workers. But then Cesaro has a counter for Miz's counter. Miz is going to worm his way out of it.
You've activated my trap card!
Exactly. There you go. Yu-Gi-Oh! Reference for the win. Cesaro says, I talked to Shane McMahon earlier today, and more or less it's going to be an 8-man tag team match. You and the League of Nations, which for those of you that may not be, caught up, the League of Nations is now just Sheamus, Del Rio, and Rusev. They have excommunicated Wade Barrett.
And he hasn't been seen since.
Yeah,
he's been seen one time since.
Yeah, there you go. He's just relishing inking those release papers, man. Signing on that line on the road to freedom. And Cesaro says, against me and my partners, and he undoes the suit, and when he rips it off, it's a New Day shirt. So, yep, teaming with the New Day, which actually got a nice pop from the crowd. Then the New Day does their intro. They come down the ramp, and we know this is our 8-man tag. Gotta be, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I mean, Cesaro and New Day are on the same team, cool stuff. But there was a part of me that I think actually would have preferred Cesaro and Rusev just one-on-one. Because I feel like you got so many amazing talents all clustered together in an 8-man tag. But, it's whatever. It was an entertaining matchup. I mean, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was entertaining. And I personally, I just loved the ending, the finish of this match, because Big E doing Cesaro things is just so entertaining.
Oh, my, yeah. Dude, I am still, I love Cesaro to death, and there are so many guys on the roster that I love right now, and Big E is by no means, eating scraps off the dinner table. He's doing very well for himself right now, but I am still waiting for that man to be unleashed, because god damn, he had a great moment in this match tonight, where one, he belly to bellies, I believe it was Del Rio.
Yeah.
And
this freaking JBL is calling it the booty to belly or the belly to booty or something like that.
Yeah, the belly to booty, yeah.
Screw off JBL. Neither man's butt cheeks are touching either of the other man's stomach.
I love that that's how you look at it. That's why it doesn't work. Oh.
Well, I mean, at least with Bayley, you can call it the belly to belly because Bayley is pressing up against the other person's belly. That works. I get that. But belly to booty or booty to belly or whatever they called it makes literally no sense.
There you go.
So just shut up, JBL. God, we need to get Corey Graves to replace you.
You hate his face so much.
I'm actually getting worked up. I hate him so much.
I know. I could sense it, man. You have some tension going on there. You need to do some breathing exercises while I finish.
Yeah, it's called wanting to punch JBL. That's the tension that I have.
But then Miz tries to come up from behind with a skull-crushing finale, and then we have this great moment where Big E grabs Miz by the arms and more or less
flips him up onto his shoulder for the big ending.
Yeah, dude, that was sick. I'm like, that's how Big E needs to be showcased. I mean, god damn, if Roman Reigns wasn't a fucking thing, man, they probably still wouldn't look at Big E. I mean, let's be honest. But I'm telling you, that is a main event waiting to happen. And I know you agree, so I know I'm preaching to the choir here. It's just so good. So he does that. And then I really love the sequence. I mean, it was a blink of an eye kind of thing, but that Cesaro and Sheamus shared. Because Sheamus was trying to power slam Cesaro. Cesaro slips out, and he pretty much counters it into a Gotch neutralizer. And he pins Sheamus. So damn, Cesaro, you scary. Just in one foul swoop, hits his finisher off and gets the win. So, yeah, Cesaro and New Day celebrate. James Corden's parents, they give Kofi a hat after the match, and they celebrate. And I thought the New Day was going to get Cesaro to gyrate with them, and I feel like he was about to, but they cut away from it right as they were about to convince him. So, there you go. That was the match.
Good job, Cesaro.
Exactly, yeah, what a beast.
GG, mate.
Exactly.
Up next, we had another Mauro Ranallo interview, this time with Charlotte. And, she says, I'm the champion. It's not the champion's responsibility to actually beat anybody. It was Natalya's job to beat me, and she's still a failure.
Yeah.
And this is why I said, please don't do this to me, because they're trying to get me to cheer Charlotte, but I'm not going to because she's still awful. Natalya ended up showing up, and she was bragging, oh, I made you tap out. And then she says Shane told her that they have a match at Payback, another match for the title. Only this time, her Uncle Brett is going to be in her corner.
Oh, do you remember when I called this, in that same review where I was laughing at your pain? You remember, right?
Implying nobody else saw this from a mile away.
Well, I'm just reminding you that I totally brought it up in that same.
I mean, you're saying it as if you're trying to remind me of the fact that you said it, but really you're just trying to remind me of the pain that I felt.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, so
you remember though, right?
At least try to be a little more transparent about it next time.
# please don't do this to me. Oh my god, but you know what?
I feel like the freaking little kid in Big Daddy. Papa, please don't do this to me.
Yeah, shut up, you're going back to your dad.
Wow.
God, that movie was awful. But
I loved that movie.
I'm sorry.
That's literally one of the 2 or maybe 3 Adam Sandler movies that I actually like.
You mean when he actually had a career? Yeah, I remember it too.
Dude, he still has a career today. It's really sad.
Yeah, it really is. Wow.
I literally heard the insecurity sink in.
But no, in all seriousness, the only reason
So,
I
do you want your cocoa and hot blankets now or after we're done recording?
no, because TWitWoW in a safe space. All right, we do it all out here. You know, we're fine. But no, why I brought it up though in all seriousness, Ashton, that like we did talk about the possibility of like Brett showing up. It does make me nervous that Natalia's going over. Now I'm hoping not, because if you're serious about Sasha being the contender at SummerSlam, it's only gonna mean something if Charlotte really goes on her run. I'm not talking about she drops it.
Terror.
Well, right though. Like I know you and I aren't the biggest on Charlotte, but you're absolutely right, because better that than Natalya wins at Payback and then what? Charlotte regains it either the following night on Raw or worst case Extreme Rules. No, WWE, you don't get to do that. Give Charlotte her run, and then Sasha can have the bragging rights of I beat Charlotte, because I swear to God, if I have to hear Natalya come up and be like, oh, but I beat Charlotte first, nobody gives a shit. That is literally the motto of most of your family. No one gives a shit. Go in the background. Do it. Yeah, when you said please don't do this to me, it wasn't just for you, brother. It was for me too. I'm just trying to keep a brave face on, but I'm telling you, man, it's now with the introduction of Brett, now that our nightmares have manifested themselves, now it's starting to break. And you better not do this, WWE. You better not give that fucking honor to Natalya of all people. That is Sasha Banks' belt. Everyone knows it, okay? Even Charlotte knows it deep down inside. Won't you do this?
So? You really
Damn right she does. Yeah.
Charlotte,
yeah.
You think Charlotte sees it coming?
Probably. Probably. Like, what do you expect me to say? No? After everything I just... What? I'm just going to backtrack? No. I mean,
I'm
yes.
not asking you if you believe it. I'm asking you if you think Charlotte knows it.
I mean, she's heel, so I don't know. Like, you know,
I love how much legitimate thought you put into that for just a split second.
It's like, you know, I mean, maybe. I don't know. Look, the important thing is Bayley still isn't on the main roster, and Sasha still doesn't have that championship. Until those problems get remedied, I'm still going to be salty about Natalya being anywhere near relevant. Fucking Total Divas my ass. Oh, yeah, speaking of which, guys, we got an announcement that's happening. The Tota Bellas spinoff. Yeah, because let's just keep milking that money, getting that out there. But apparently John Cena and Daniel Bryan are going to live together? What? Like, what? I don't know. So, yeah, that's a thing, too.
See, the thing is, John,
Oh, my God.
heard me. I don't know if you heard me, but when that ad came on, I was just like you. I was like, oh, God, this is awful. I'll never watch this. And then they said Daniel Bryan and John Cena living under the same roof, to which I responded immediately, okay, I guess I'm watching that now.
But see, why isn't just that the spinoff? You know? Like,
well, what are they going to call it? Total Cena and Bryan?
Yes.
That's not catchy.
Yeah, well, it doesn't need to be. You got my viewership. Isn't that all you care about? I'm nothing to you anyway. I'm just another thing to support that an idea that you had was allegedly good. I know I mean nothing to you outside of that.
Oh my God.
Please fucking use me. At least use me for something worthwhile. But you're right, though. I'm horrible.
No, God, you went to a dark place there.
But no, and it gets worse because you're not wrong. I mean, I'm standing here on this pulpit like I'm making some kind of stand. I'm a bigger sellout than all you motherfuckers because I know I'll watch the first episode. I'm a whore. I know it. I have no pride.
Oh my God.
And clearly, neither does WWE because it's like, oh, well, you know, that Ric Flair interference has really been a problem in our stories. We should have resolved it at WrestleMania. But you know who we should give it to? Natalya. Now, how do we do it? We referenced their takeover matchup at NXT. Let's recreate it blatantly by having Brett in her corner. Genius! That man is a genius! And here we are. I'm really hoping Natalya doesn't win at Payback. Charlotte, you better do something, and yes, I'll even say you better do it with Flair, because I feel like this is you versus Brie Bella all over again as far as live reactions go. All I want to say right now is you failed, Natalya, you failed. And I can't say it right now. So fuck you, Charlotte, because it's your fault, and fuck you, WWE, because this is even more your fault. I'm just angry right now, so let's move on. you squeak laugh at me.
I just was.
Oh my god. You swallow right now. Let's move on.
Okay.
Did you legit make a swallowing sound effect?
Wasn't I supposed to?
I swear to God, you are the hammiest motherfucker I've ever met in my life. Can we just move on, please?
I'm sorry. I didn't know that you didn't. Okay, never mind. Yeah, sure. So up next, where were we? I feel like we were at the Charlotte Natalia thing. So up next is the match: is Natalia, Paige, Becky, and Sasha versus Charlotte, Summer Rae, and Team Bad. And you notice how one of those 8 names was not Emma.
Yeah, probably off on a tour with her boyfriend who's not me. But
That was pathetic.
Look, I know what it is, okay? I can't help it. I'm living out in my car. But no, what was really funny about this, and I couldn't help but notice, and I don't hold it against WWE, but I could just picture this conversation on the apron between Paige and Becky. Like, oh, funny seeing you here. Last I saw you, I was kind of turning on you. We gonna talk about that? No? Okay, then. And then, they just kind of have their match. So it's funny the people that ended up tagging with each other in this thing. Not a bad match. It was actually kind of sad seeing Paige work. Like, I'm happy she got to work in front of her home crowd. But then it dawns on you that she's really not doing anything. And it's like, oh, that's where we are. Sasha got to mix it up with the women's champion while being nowhere near that title picture, which I know, people, it is very perplexing. And I understand your pain quite deeply, actually. And yeah, the finish comes with Natalia getting Charlotte in the sharpshooter, and she taps out again. And I will say that I'm actually glad that this segment preceded the backstage segment that we just got done talking about, because if having Bret Hart in Natalia's corner really raised my fears, Natalia getting another submission win here actually greatly lowered them. Because I don't know if you have Charlotte tapping out so much that she isn't going to find a way around a payback and still retain the championship. Either way, I mean, this match wasn't bad. I just hate that it's Natalia getting all this spotlight when it really, really should be Sasha. So, you have anything you want to say about this match?
No, I could, but then I'd have to talk about this match.
Wait, what? You know what? No, I feel you. Let's just move on.
I mean, you can't even act like it's anything but ridiculous that the champion taps out to her challenger 2 weeks before the championship match.
I mean, I agree.
In a match, like, it's sanctioned, like, this actually counted.
Yeah, it's not like this was some skirmish that these two had,
right.
Like, say, at a contract signing or something.
Right, or even like last week where the match got thrown out.
Exactly.
This was an actual match. Like, Charlotte just got Natalia to tap out and won, or other way around. Natalia just got Charlotte to tap out, won via submission. Why is Natalia just not the champion now?
And I agree with you. And I'm glad you brought this up, because I know we've brought up cases like this in the past, and it would be hypocritical not to apply that same logic in this situation when it fits perfectly. If anything, honestly, looking at this segment, and if we are going to treat the women more seriously now that they've got a new belt, and Charlotte's the champion, and the whole WrestleMania match is so good, and we feel like they have this momentum, this should be a nitpick. I won't go full-blown Heat of the Night, because I wasn't really offended by it. But yeah, it is a perplexing booking decision, and you are absolutely 100% right about that. I mean, you're talking 2 weeks before a show. You're talking Natalia is already kind of evening the odds with Bret being in her corner. Do you really have to make it just explicitly seem like, yeah, Natalia is the better wrestler? Now, somebody might reply, well, isn't that how it necessarily works with babyfaces and heels? Babyfaces usually are the better wrestlers, but heels are just more wily, more cunning, whatever. Yeah. And I could see that logic if somebody was to bring up that retort. But still, though, it's in a big tag team match. Like, I would almost like if Charlotte maybe pulled a Kevin Owens, just kind of walked down her partner. Maybe Natalia is just really, like, beating the crap out of her. And she just decides, like, no, I'm not doing this. And even taking, like, a count out loss where everybody else is kind of looking on. But just a straight tap out, I don't know if that really did Charlotte any favors. Because I think you want your champion to still be believable. And I know the whole thing is, oh, well, Rick gets involved and he wasn't able to really get involved here. And I just feel like they could have done a better job here in the finish. I don't really know exactly what that could have been, but certainly something other than this in my mind.
Yeah.
All right, so do you want to move on?
I suppose we can do that.
All right, what's next?
Up next was another Cologne's vignette talking about San Juan, Puerto Rico, and they did talk about the Fountain of Youth, although because this is WWE and not Lucha Underground, I doubt that'll ever actually come into play.
Oh, can you imagine if Lucha Underground had a Fountain of Youth? I mean, maybe they already kind of do.
Might, yeah, that'd be
They
sick.
might. Yeah, really.
But this is WWE, so let's not get our expectations up so high.
Yeah, I look at these vignettes, and you're absolutely right. First of all, but I look at these vignettes, and it's funny because as good as WWE's been lately as far as their Raw product goes, I mean, when we have to be critical about something, we have no qualms about being critical. And I have to say that I find it insulting, and I have for a long time. I mean, this is nothing new. That WWE thinks that I'm going to hate somebody simply because they take pride in a place that isn't the United States, or that isn't like an established, one of the 50 states in the United States, something like that.
How dare they?
Yeah, it's like, in a way, and I don't want to get hyperbolic here, that's not my intention, but in a way, if somebody really had enough time on their hands and they really wanted to look into it, there is something really evil about that. Like, oh, you're going to boo these people because they're not from where you're from, or they like a place that's not your place. That's really sinister when you get down to brass tacks. No, I don't hate these guys when they take pride in another place. If anything, I'm grateful to them for, kind of enlightening me on areas outside of the borders that I've grown up accustomed to for pretty much my entire life. Yeah. But no, you expect me to boo them. Fuck that, man. Like, it's bad enough that Prepico are actually talented in the ring, but then you give them, they're proud of their homeland of Puerto Rico. They've, gone back there and they're rejuvenated. They've reconnected to the land. I'm supposed to boo that shit? No. Good, because really the rest of the world's becoming a shithole, apparently, with global warming and everything else, and warfare and this and that in so many parts of the world. And granted, Puerto Rico isn't perfect. We've made jokes about that on prior TWitWows. But in this kayfabe context, they're looking at Puerto Rico as kind of this oasis. I'm happy for you freaking guys. Lord knows you're not really getting much of the profits from your job. You might as well enjoy whatever vacation you get, and yet you're the heels? Nah, man, I don't think so. It ain't gonna work for me. So, WWE, I don't know what you're gonna do when Prepico comes back, but I'm really hoping it's something more nuanced, more multidimensional than just, oh, we're from a place that's so much better than where you live, and then there's that neon sign, boo, and then they react accordingly. Because I don't know, am I more ashamed of WWE that they keep doing these stories, or am I more ashamed of the audiences because WWE only keeps doing these stories because the audience keeps feeding into them?
Yeah, I think the simple answer in that case is easily the audience.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think I just answered my own question.
Yeah, because the WWE only does what the audience tells them. Well, I should never mind.
Good joke.
Oh, man, I almost caught myself telling a lie there. That was bad.
But, yeah, audience, why of all times to validate WWE on something do you choose this? Do better, okay? Jesus.
So right.
All right, man. We love Prepico, though. Prepico supporters till the end, but we can move on.
Okay, up next was the Vaudevillains versus the Usos, or as I like to refer to them lovingly as the Boo-Sos.
Oh, look at you. That was at least a 3-knee slapper. So there you go.
That's underwhelming.
No, you'll do better. Don't worry.
Oh my God! Just keep raising that bar.
Hey, look, I said you would do better. It was encouragement. God.
Just keep raising that bar.
Well, no, what did you want me to say? Oh, Ashton, get used to your ceiling. Like, that wouldn't want to make a person cut themselves at night. God.
That still sounds like something you would say to me.
It really does. Our relationship's horrible, but anyway. Thanks for the self-awareness there. But can I just point out too?
No, you can't. Don't even try.
I'm sorry. I was so ready. I was so excited. I'm like, I'm finally gonna have a moment, man. But no, I love too. I don't know if it was an accident or was deliberate, but we have a tag team vignette be proceeded with a tag team match. I think that's cool.
I didn't even think about that. Good point. Good call.
Yeah, because I think it really just shows, hey guys, we have a division now. And then you and I, and hopefully some other people, because I know you and I have been really passionate about a revival of the tag team division. But we're just like, yeah, waving our flags and everything. So, yeah, we get this match, and honestly, yeah, no Anderson and Gallows. I mean, the Usos don't even mention, because I know they had a little backstage thing of them kind of chilling with Shane McMahon to kind of segue into their match. No mention by the Usos of their attack, which... Honestly, if I really wanted to be salty, I could probably make that another nitpick because you guys got jumped and you're clearly showing the damage because they have like arm bandages and stuff like that. So they're kind of selling the attack. And really, that's the main reason why the Vaudevillains get the win. They're able to isolate the Usos. And one of the Usos, I'm just going to assume maybe it was, let me take a guess here, Jimmy Uso. His shoulder eats the ring post. And then he ends up eating the Whirling Dervish and gets pinned. So, again, solid matchup here. Builds the heel heat of the Vaudevillains, because they preyed on, injured Usos, even though they did beat them clean. They didn't really exploit anything too excessively. They just, they capitalized. And the Usos get protected because, well, you were walking in with a bad arm, quite literally, into a fight. So,
That's a good point, man. That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, solid booking all around for sure. I don't know, man. Like, what are Anderson and Gallows doing? That's the big question, right? Because you attacked the Usos last week, and we're thinking, oh, they're going to do something with the Usos. Maybe not the best thing, but it'll get them established in the win and this and that. And then they attack Roman this week, and the Usos don't even acknowledge. Like, oh, yeah, we got jumped. Like, what? I don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's just really perplexing, man. Really perplexing to me.
I'm confused for you.
Yeah, not even inherently bad, right? Like, I don't want to make it seem like it's just a really bad thing, but you got jumped, and here you are chilling. And see, that's what I don't like. I feel like even if they didn't have that, maybe I would have been more forgiving, like, okay, they're just going to come out and do business. No, you clearly show them, like, oh, hey, Shane, you're doing a great job, man. I mean, we could have really liked some extra security before we got jumped, but you good. We good, fam. We good. And, they go and they do their thing. Like,
you said, fam.
Like, what the hell even is that? Like, I'm not asking you to have a stick up your ass, all right? You could go and you could be happy and you could be like, well, golly gee, we got beat down, but what do the Usos do? We get up, right? Yeah. But
remember when they almost had that being a thing, and I called them out for not actually capitalizing on it, and they still haven't, and they're still not over because of it?
Yeah, see, I did something more with it than they ever have. So look at that. TWitWoW once again doing the legwork. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, to not even get a microphone and be like, I'm gonna let this match finish, but before that, we got jumped by Anderson and Gallows. Whatever, we're gonna have our day. It's not even say anything. It's just, oh, it happened, and then they lose to the Vaudevillains, which. Cool. I love the Vaudevillains. I'm really convinced now they're winning this tournament and they're going to go on to face the New Day. Hell, some people are even saying they're going to beat the New Day. I'm not going to get that ahead of myself.
Squeeze me?
Settle down, sir. It's fine. It was one opinion. Not one I necessarily share, though. Not one I necessarily share. But, yeah, yeah, I mean, they are coming out being like, oh, Vaudevillains might win, which I don't know how I'd feel about that. Because, I mean, part of me would mark.
I mean, from an entertainment standpoint, the Vaudevillains are like a 7 out of 10. Okay, and then you have the New Day, and they're like an 11 out of 10. It's not even close.
Well, we don't need to denigrate the Vaudevillains. It's kind of like,
I'm just saying, man.
It's kind of like when a kid brings you a picture. Is this going to go on the fridge? No. Bobby gets the fridge. You get the trash can.
Oh my God.
But in that
savagery.
But in that same kind of soft, sincere tone, like no, you're just never going to be good enough. You should really just give up. But I mean, for me, as the actual compassionate person in the group, I won't say.
Sure, if you're a psychopath.
Okay, that's actually probably the sweetest thing you've said to me in a while, but that notwithstanding. I'm not going to be like, oh, the Vaudevillains are a 7 out of 10 because I thought rating systems were for marks, but I will say, look.
I mean, that is true.
Listen to you right now. But look, compared to the New Day, there is a disparity between the Vaudevillains and the New Day, yes. Mm-hmm. But as commentary has so aptly noted, what is old is new again. So I'm sure the Vaudevillains will do all right when they become WWE Tag Team Champions. And yes, I almost went full-blown New Day, but I reeled it in. It'll be okay. It'll all be okay. Well, so yeah,
it'll all be okay because the Vaudevillains aren't freaking winning. Duh.
You know what? When they do, that's going to be...
if they do, in which case you would be wrong.
Wow! I mean, just go for the jugular, Ashton. Have at it. It's a completely open space. No, live reactions are going to be so much fun, though, if they do go over. Because, I mean, in all seriousness, I'm kind of with you.
Won't be that fun. I'll be miserable.
Well, I mean, it would be fun for me. I mean, I already laughed at your pain. Please don't do this to me. So, I mean, what do you expect me to do? Not laugh? What? I'm going to console you like a healthy friend would? The hell do you think this is? But no, part of me, I think, would, Mark. But another part of me would be like, I don't know. You had all this momentum with the New Day, and you know that Anderson and Gallows are on your roster, and yet you give it to the Vaudevillains who aren't bad. But again, Anderson and Gallows. That takes some balls, WWE. That takes some real balls. So we'll see what they do. But yeah, I mean, the bracket is set up now. Enzo and Kaz versus the Vaudevillains. NXT represent. And that's going to happen at Payback. And we've already kind of discussed our grievances with that. So with that said, Ashton, if you want to move on, we can.
All right. Up next was a cute little vignette for Apollo Crews, and then our 7th match of the night, Crews versus Heath Slater.
Yeah, and it should be noted that there was a backstage segment that was recorded earlier in the night.
Before the show, during the pre-show, I think, actually.
Okay, the pre-show, where the Social Outcasts, they tried to recruit Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews is like, sure, I'll join you guys, and Heath Slater is so happy because he's thinking, oh my god, I haven't felt this legitimate since I was part of the Nexus. But then Apollo Crews is like, if one of you can beat me, but if I beat you, then you stay out of my life forever, and I mean forever. I guess Apollo Crews really wanted to stress, like, hey, you know, let's keep this in the ring. I don't want to have to get a restraining order on your ass. So it turns out it's going to be Apollo Crews versus Heath Slater. And I got to be honest, you know, I enjoyed this match. And I'll be even more honest, I'm probably in the minority here. There was actually part of me that wanted Heath Slater to go over. I know it wouldn't have made any sense.
No, but it would have been interesting at least. And
that's kind of my thing, right? Like, what do you do with Apollo Crews? What's his first program going to be? Because at least with Baron Corbin, no matter how I or anybody else feels about Dolph Ziggler, he has something tangible right now. All Apollo Crews is doing is working matches and building up a streak. And like you were saying earlier, Ashton, when has an NXT team, or really an NXT act in general, you know, coming in and just winning, ever done them any favors? I think Apollo really needs something. And again, I fully acknowledge Heath going over here wouldn't have made any sense. But I think it would have been interesting. Like, oh, Apollo's a part of the Social Outcast now? What? And, you know, where would you go from there? I don't know. I do think it's always best to stay logical. So I guess in the end, this was the right call, having Apollo go over after a somewhat competitive match. But it doesn't change the root problem that I think you need to get Apollo something to do soon. Because, I mean, I'm still predicting he's going to win some hardware relatively quickly. But I'd like to see him in at least one program before that happens. So, I mean, Ashton, is there anything you want to say about this match?
You know, I'm good. I feel like this was a very paint-by-numbers Apollo Crews match. You know, he got beat up a little bit by Slater, but had to come back relatively quickly. Won with the toss-spinning sit-out powerbomb. And that was it. So, can we talk about the main event now?
Sure.
Kevin Owens versus Dean Ambrose, a.k.a. the Titty Master versus the Headlock Master, baby!
Oh, my God. Headlock Master Kevin Owens. That man is just so brilliant. I don't even know. And Dean Ambrose, I mean, you know, crowd loves him. They went and, you know, they worked their match. It was a fun match. I mean, here's the thing. Some spots I already kind of telegraphed, like when Owens tried going for the pop-up powerbomb and Ambrose countered the Hurricane Rana. I think we all saw that coming. But then I liked how Owens just snaps back and gets a super kick. You know, that's cool stuff. So yeah, these guys have a great back and forth matchup. I love that Kevin Owens, you know, has really embraced being a headline matcher. Like, he is the only guy that I know that can give some life and just, you know, some vibrancy to a rest spot in a match. Because he talks to the crowd, he's communicative, he knows how to work the environment. I'm telling you guys, Kevin Owens is one of the most underappreciated, at least by WWE, heels they've got right now. Because the guy can just do it. Anywhere, anytime, he can be the freaking man. And I just love him for it. But in the end, though, Dean Ambrose does get the win. Dirty Deeds stands tall after a great back and forth matchup. And the victory, though, is short-lived because Jericho hits a code breaker. He poses over Ambrose, and if you guys can believe it, that's how we end Raw. That's it. So, again, not the worst ending in the world, but it's just kind of, well, all right, that happened. That's pretty much how I felt about it.
I
I mean,
feel,
Ashton,
I don't feel compelled whatsoever to watch next week, but I'm going to anyway out of habit.
exactly. And WWE is probably giving us that metaphorical, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like, oh, we know we didn't give you any reason to come back, but we know you will. And then it's like, yeah, you'll see me next week. Yay! God, I hate you. So yeah, that's pretty much what this was. I mean, is there anything you want to add about this main event or Jericho's post-match attack or anything? Just anything at all.
Can you just give me something to work with here, please?
Yeah, it's like, please, I'm kind of drowning. The water's kind of filling my lungs. So if you want to, do anything.
You use the drowning analogy. I'm going to use the fishing analogy. I'm casting the line out, brother. Take a bite. But no, that being said, no, I have nothing to add.
Wow, leave me to die. Douche. All right.
I don't know. What is there to say? This was a really fun match. My favorite part was probably when Kevin Owens told Michael Cole to shut up for the 13 millionth time. I don't know. It was good. What else? It feels like they're not giving us anything to work with here. It's very, like I said, this is very much a filler episode of Raw.
It's funny because...
And I'm convinced that it was because of the roster. Half the roster probably wasn't on the show.
And I think you're right. And see, though, but here's the thing, though, Ashton, right? You say that, and you're right. You're not wrong. But at the same time, though, I still can't help, and this is probably going to be my saltiest moment of the night, and I'm going to apologize beforehand, because I don't want to be hard on WWE right now, because I'm still liking what they're doing. I still want to keep an open mind. But they always brag about, oh, we're the longest-running episodic television show, and yet it really doesn't seem like you know how to work television, do you? Because I feel like Lucha Underground or NXT, or hell, you and I, we watched Invasion Attack last night. We did that, which, by the way, congratulations to all the winners. I mean, it's been over a week, so I guess I can come out and say it. I mean, spoilers, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Congratulations to Naito for winning the world title. Fucking amazing.
And the Gorillas of Destiny for winning the world tag titles.
And the Gorillas of Destiny, because Tamatonga's deserved gold forever. So happy to see him with some hardware. And that's the thing, like, New Japan had some seismic departures. I don't think anybody would disagree with me.
I'm so glad that we're going to talk about this now. Yes.
Wait, is there something you want to say, bro?
You're bringing up the departures. I want to talk about how well New Japan's handled them.
Right, yeah, me as well, right? Because they've had these seismic departures. I mean, Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, most notably.
Right.
And they handle it with such grace, and they take this opportunity to just embrace the new. Can you remember what you told me last night, Ashton, at the conclusion of the show? Because you had a great line when you were talking to me about how just with departures and everything, and they're still like, oh, we still have plenty of talent, and we're going to show you how we make use of them. You said something along those lines. So how did you feel about it?
I don't remember what I said.
I think I was just paraphrasing you, though. I can't remember what you said exactly, but you more or less made the point. New Japan had these departures, and still, like, they didn't cave. Because they just said in response.
Oh, okay, yeah, now I know what you're talking about. So basically, what New Japan didn't do that WWE did was give up. Because I feel like for WrestleMania, the WWE just kind of had this moment where they were like, you know what? We have all these injuries, all these people are hurt, we don't have a full roster, there's not much that we can do. We had these matches planned, and now we can't have them. So you know what? We're just going to throw our hands in the air. We're going to say, screw it. This WrestleMania is going to suck. We'll compensate by having a bunch of celebrities and old stars on it, and we'll just start with a clean sheet of paper the following night. Whereas with New Japan, they dealt with all these losses, and they're just like, okay, here's the plan. We need to make new stars. We need to keep Okada as our top baby. We need to make a new top heel. We need to make another new top Gaijin heel, Kenny Omega. We need to make a new Gaijin tag team, Gorillas of Destiny, and we need to just kind of replace as much of this star power that we just lost as possible. But the plans that we had are still going on, and that's exactly what they went through. And it's been wonderful. They've done a great job.
Exactly. They had such a moment when we watched that show last night where Okada, because you did the math, you said he pretty much held the belt. I think your final determination was 9 months.
Yeah. He held it from July of 15 to April of 16.
and you have Naito, who's been doing brilliant heel work, get recognized for that and properly rewarded. You have a reintroduction of Sonata, who, that was another great line you had, Ashton. In the 2 seconds like that he reemerged and he did his thing in New Japan, has become instantly more relevant and interesting than his entire time in TNA. And the main reason I even invoke New Japan in the first place, even though they do have some kind of program they do week to week, but their events are kind of scattered out, it hooks me in for the next event. Because, oh my god, now we have this Naito title reign, his faction's running roughshod, the fans seem to embrace him, which was really fucking cool. And with Raw, which I know I'm talking about 2 completely different worlds here, it's still the same thing, though. Raw has to know, if you're the longest running episodic television, you only get that way because you know how to utilize a hook. And I feel like you guys make your own timetable of how long it's been. But I feel like for me, it's been quite some time since they've known how to create a proper hook. I mean, even when Lucha Underground episodes, because we always compare, was this one more exceptional than that one? Even when we say a Lucha Underground episode, yeah, it was good. I wish it would have had insert thing here. But the one thing we say consistently is it hooked me in for next week. If Lucha Underground does anything exceptionally with any kind of consistency, which it is a laundry list, but the one thing I would point to is they've mastered the hook. And I think WWE has no excuse, even if half their roster is scattered out doing other tours. You've got to know how to do your hook. And I don't think this had it tonight. It wasn't bad. It wasn't offensive. But you're counting on me being there for you next week because I've always been there for you. Which in any other context, if we were talking about a friend or a family member or anything, you'd look really shitty. But no, you're WWE, and yeah, you may look shitty, but nothing's gonna come of it. You don't care, and I don't have enough energy to expend, to do something about it, so it is what it is. And that's why you get away with it. And that's not cool, because you have such a great roster, and the writing has clearly shown itself recently. Work on your hook, people. I don't care where your roster is. You can do better. I know you can. So that's why I wanted to bring that up.
Okay. I agree. I'm glad we had this discussion on an episode of TWitWoW because we had it last night watching Invasion Attack, and I feel like our listeners needed to hear it, and I think that a lot of them are going to realize what's going on elsewhere and how other companies handle departures the way that New Japan has that's better than the way WWE has. So if you want to move on to our next segment, let's get into it.
High spots and low shots. I'm going to get the ball moving right along. My low shot is Sami Zayn. Comes out, tries to take issue with Kevin Owens. Chris Jericho then interrupts, tells Sami to his face that more important things are going on than his stupid idiot feelings. And then when Sami has a chance to throw it back in Jericho's face by getting a win over him, Jericho actually ends up beating Sami Zayn, albeit with a poke to the eye, which was preceded by a code breaker. But a win is a win is a win. And Jericho beat Sami Zayn on this night. So Sami, not looking good heading into Payback when he has to face Kevin Owens, which that's going to be one hell of a mountain for Sami Zayn to climb. So he is my low shot.
Okay. Oh, man, I think my low shot's got to be The Miz, right? Because he talked all kinds of smack and then got smacked around.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. So, yeah, Miz is a very suitable low shot.
At the very least, even though Sami Zayn was the only other really, really notable guy that lost tonight, at least he's humble,
Exactly. Yeah.
I think, what? I think I'm going to say The Miz is my honorary low shot because he didn't actually eat the pin. I keep on forgetting that Big E did not pin him with that big ending. My low shot is going to be Dolph Ziggler because you tried so hard, dude. And then Corbin, big banter Corbin, just destroyed you. And you even had the advantage. You jumped him from behind, but God, you're pathetic.
Dude, I loved how you introed that whole thing. You tried so hard, dude.
He did. So much effort went into what he did tonight, and he ended up eating the outside canvas because of it. I don't even know what the material is, but I'm sure it hurt.
Yeah, man, I'm totally
it's like a gym pad.
I'm totally picking up what you're laying down. On that note, I'll tell you what. My honorary high spot is going to be Cesaro because what a freak. And my actual high spot, I'm going to say, is Enzo and Cass. because, yeah, not only did they advance to the finals, they're going to Payback, working their first WWE main roster pay-per-view in the tournament finals, but they beat the Dudleys, who, unlike the other tournament matchup we had, they didn't have any kind of handicap. The only thing they did wrong was having a miscommunication, which is embarrassing for them because they're the veteran team, apparently. So Enzo and Kaz just exposed the Dudleys as being SAWFT soft. And if that's not a reason to be a high spot, I don't know what is.
You've been exposed.
Yeah! Who's your high spot?
My high spot... Let's see. You know what? I'm going to say my high spot is the New Day. Not just because they won their tag match tonight, but because their opponents at Payback are, well, not even at Payback, their next opponents for the tag titles are most likely going to be the Vaudevillains, and the Vaudevillains are a 7 out of 10.
Wow, still going there. Okay.
I'm not joking, though. And I'm joking about the 7 out of 10 part, but I'm not joking when I say I'm extremely confident in the New Day not even being challenged by the Vaudevillains.
Dude, while I agree with you, I have to be honest, the part of me that's such a piece of shit to you in our relationship kind of gets giddy about Payback, because can you imagine this show for you if both Natalya and the Vaudevillains, win championships? Oh my god, your pain, though. I mean,
why would you do that to me? The WWE hasn't even done it yet, but you're wishing it on me. What is wrong with you?
I mean, Ashton, who else would do it to you but me?
But
now
John
think about that.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right, and that's really depressing for you, but it doesn't make it any less real, right? So,
damn it.
There you go. But no, in all seriousness, because I do anything that you bring up, I like to joke, but I always like to treat it with sincerity as well. You are right. I mean, I've even been saying New Day has had a great tag title run. They've had a face turn with it. They've gone, they've really carried these belts, whatever. To me, Anderson and Gallows, everybody has to lose their titles, and I feel like how you punctuate a title reign is important. I feel like it's more of a compliment to New Day than anything to be like, okay, you're dropping your tag titles to two former members of freaking Bullet Club. You guys earned it. Go out, have your match. Because if they had a great match, and I was even telling Stephen Herman of the Smart Show on Twitter, my personal match of the year, I loved the whole Y2AJ versus New Day matchup on Raw. I thought that was an amazing tag team match. But if that was good, New Day versus Anderson and Gallows would be freaking amazing, and it needs to happen, and it needs to have the tag titles at stake. So I completely agree with you. And Natalya is just awful. So, I mean, I don't even know why I brought that into the public sphere. I am so sorry to everyone I offended. And believe me, I'm going to cry all alone tonight because that's really why I do this in the first place. So, with that in mind, let's do our main event segment, Raw Request. And I actually don't need you to carry me for this one. I actually have one prepared.
Yay!
I know, right? I'm so proud of myself.
You might need to carry me because I'm still racking my brain.
My Raw request is do something more with AJ and Roman. I like that you're keeping it to talking. I like that you're not doing any physicality, but there's something missing with this feud. I'm almost even expecting, to be honest with you, I would bet the house. Now, maybe WWE will surprise me. Even though I wouldn't even be opposed to this, probably because I thought it, so it's more egocentric. But, a 6-man tag next week, AJ, Anderson, and Gallows, Roman Reigns, and the Usos.
No! Why would you want to do that, though? That would be like cards on the table. Here you go. AJ's a heel now.
Well, I don't know. Maybe Shane's like, oh, I want to test exactly that relationship that you had back in New Japan.
Oh, I see why you would maybe see it happening, but I don't think that's a good idea at all.
Not the best idea, no. I mean, there are certainly a lot of better routes. But regardless.
I love how reasonable you were that one time.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody gets one, right? So, but yeah, I don't know. I just feel like something's missing with this feud. I like some of the stuff they're doing, but actually, I feel like I need more commitment from Roman, whatever the fuck you are. And we can keep playing with this stuff with Anderson, Gallows, and AJ, but I don't know, man. It's missing something. I don't know. Maybe I do need a different kind of interaction between these two. And you know what? I think I'll formulate my Raw request like this, because it definitely involves AJ and Roman this whole program. Treat it more like a main event program in your last 2 weeks, because right now it's still only feeling like it belongs in the middle of the show, the way it's ended up on your Raws and your SmackDowns. I like what it's doing, but it doesn't have that main event air about it. Give it that air, and then we'll talk. So, what's your Raw request?
My Raw request is to please give us Emma on Raw. It doesn't have to be against Becky. Just forward, progress that feud, that whole thing on Raw. We've had it on SmackDown now for 2 weeks, and still not even really much. I mean, I know that they talked about it on commentary tonight, but no real mentions beyond commentary of Emma on Raw. Why?
Because they hate me, and they hate you too, and they probably hate her somewhere deep down inside.
Oh, God.
You know I'm right. There you go.
They're still mad at her for stealing that iPhone case.
But it was an accident, though, wasn't it?
I know, and you know, but they don't seem to care.
And it was an iPhone case, okay? Believe me, I know when people do heavy shoplifting, alright? That was barely even a pittance. They weren't going to miss it anyway. I'm not condoning stealing, but seriously, WWE, get the stick out of your ass. It was an accident, and it was a fucking iPhone case. My God, the reasons you take to penalize people.
You said penal.
Oh, my God. And yet somebody brought up with this whole, like, Connor and Adam Rose, like, 60-day suspensions, there were 2 separate years that Randy Orton got suspended, and yet he came back and he won the world title. Now, that's not to take the piss out of Randy Orton. I like the guy, but favoritism much? Like, get your house in order, WWE. God damn. But yeah, I mean, definitely. You gotta do more with Emma. We're all intrigued by this Becky Lynch Emma program. Give it some legs, man. You've got the championship feud, and you're really going above and beyond. I mean, commentary even said, oh, is Bret Hart going to be a payback? Well, no shit there's going to be a payback. What did you think that's Ellie even invoked the name for? I mean, she pretty much came out and said, yeah, he's going to be a payback. Shut up, Byron. But no, you could give another women's feud some legs.
Oh my God, commentary is so bad.
I know. Why isn't Corey Graves on there? Why aren't we on there? I mean, you don't even need to go within your roster. I'd work for free simply because I'm offended by your product. I've been doing it for my own benefit.
I wouldn't be able to work for free, but I would gladly do it at like a quarter of Michael Cole's salary.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's a reasonable man. He recognizes both that freelance doesn't mean free, and that, how we could do a better job anyway. So.
No, but like, it's just like you compare Cole to Ronaldo, and like Cole is like, oh, and look, AJ hit Roman with the knee to the head, and then you go over to SmackDown, and Ronaldo's like, and it's an Oshie Garoshi from Styles, and it's just such a completely different energy and everything, and it's so good, and Cole's so bad, and I want to like Cole, I really do, because he's not going away anytime soon, but he's just not as good as Morrow.
Does it make me a bad person? Which I don't even know why I'm asking this about this particular thing. I think the evidence kind of speaks for itself. But does it make me a bad person that when I see Mauro Ranallo as a backstage interviewer on Raw, while I know Michael Cole is sitting behind that desk, I just want to kind of throw a brick at Michael Cole's face and be like, Mauro, there's your opening, take it! Because there is something seriously fucking wrong with that picture. I mean, really, really wrong. That's some nightmare fuel bullshit.
Gotta pay his dues, brother.
Oh my God. And you know what? The only reason I groan is that you're not even wrong.
Oh, no, I know. That's the problem. And then they said the same thing about AJ, too. That's why he lost to Jericho at WrestleMania. And why he's being fed to Roman his first match.
I have never seen a more solipsistic company than WWE. Just like...
I really wish I understood what you just said.
Well, no. The only reality that exists is the one that we personally create.
Okay, I get that, but why did you have to bring synapsids into this? This isn't biology.
Look, oh my God, everything about that sentence was horrendous. But more importantly than that...
Are you going to actually repeat the word that you used?
Solipsistic...
What does that mean?
Look, that's just saying that only I exist. Everything else is just like a figment of my imagination or something. And that is how I feel like WWE works. Oh, New Japan. Oh, well, it's only exists now because we have commentary bring it up or something. It's not a viable organization where they're even stricter with their talent, going through a young boy process than we are with our NXT talent. We're the toughest brand around, damn it. We're the only brand around.
Damn it.
Damn it. So
Oh man.
there you go. I feel like you were the king to my Mauro Ranallo when he's like, this whole crowd is apoplectic. Apple what? And I feel like we just had that moment. So
Yeah,
there you go.
it felt like that too. I mean, first thing we were talking about AJ paying his dues, and next thing you know, we're talking about synapsids.
Yeah. Oh no, God. But is there any closing remarks you have about this Raw?
I mean, I'm into dinosaurs, but come on, brother.
So no then? No?
What
Okay.
was the question?
Do you have God damn it. Do you have any concluding remarks? Stop snickering over there. Do you
Don't tell me this. Don't censor me, John.
Damn it, you pulled a me and you actually did it effectively. Fuck. Do you have any concluding remarks about this Raw?
No, I don't.
Oh my goodness. Alright.
What, were you expecting any?
Oh, God, no, look, you already... Actually, it's funny, because we were talking about Anderson and Gallows working with the Authority. I expected you to have a sequel to your dissertation about how the Wyatt family worked with the Authority. Give it time, people. He just needs more evidence. He'll put it together.
Well, you say that in a joking way, but if you really want me to, I can come up with something.
I like how there are, like, pauses and, like, we know something's about to go to, like,
yeah, well, there are pauses because I'm thinking, like, maybe are there dots to connect here?
Ashton, even if there weren't, I know you'd look beyond the veil and you'd find them anyway.
Well, you know what they say: when you look hard enough for anything, you're bound to find it, whether it's actually there or not. So.
That's so true. So while these giggles are underway and while I'm kind of partially rubbing my pants, let's get out of here, guys.
Oh my
God.
God.
With that said, hey, it is quality denim, damn it. I will do what I want on my time.
Oh, so you're rubbing your jeans?
Yeah, that's problem.
I didn't. No.
Okay. I like how you were partially confused. Like, am I being attacked? I am being attacked. Let me defend my. No.
That's pretty much exactly what went through my mind. So maybe just take a step back, please.
I was waiting for you to be like, take a step back, bro, and then I was just gonna die. But you said please, so I can't. I can't take umbrage with that. You're a good guy. You're all right. So
I try.
You succeed. All right, guys. Well, enough of this mutual admiration society. What was that?
At everything.
Oh, wow.
You said I succeed. I had to follow up. Okay.
That was really unnecessary. Probably like this closing segment for Raw. You could have done a lot better, but whatever. All right, guys. With that said, this has been Raw. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. Ashton, what question do you have for our subscribers this week?
Who is behind the Bullet Club?
Oh my God. Get down in the comments, guys. Start the discussion. Who is behind the Bullet Club? Is it AJ Styles? Is it the Authority? Is it Finn Balor? Is it Colonel Mustard in the library with the candlestick? Talk to us. Be sure to
Roman. Is Colonel Mustard really that much more likely than Roman to be the person?
Is it sad that I say yes?
Yes, it is.
Well, then I'll get a tissue. But be sure to take the conversation over to Pleetov that is pro wrestling is taking over Facebook, where I'm sure there'll be somebody there that believes that Roman's behind the Bullet Club. See, I worked it in there. Also, be sure to like.
Yeah. His name is me.
Yeah. So, but while we're talking about you and we're talking about me.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just keep moving on.
I'm a 99-legged centipede. Just finish the job, okay? Be sure to like. Well, a centipede has like 100 legs, so it's pretty much like I pulled one of your legs out, and now you're just this like awkward centipede with only 99 legs. So I mean that's a biology lesson, Ashton, Mr. Synapses, But what was I promoting? Oh, yeah. We have a Facebook page, guys. And, yeah,
actually,
you should...
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm pretty sure I remember reading somewhere that centipedes don't actually have 100 legs.
Well, if you read something, I mean, clearly, Where did you read it? Was it an issue of National Geographic? What was this?
Centipedes can have a varying number of legs, ranging from 30 to 354. But here's the thing. They always have an odd number of pairs of legs, so it's impossible for a centipede to have exactly 100 legs unless, like John mentioned, you pull some out.
So let me ask you, breaking up the flow of the TWitWoW outro, was it worth it for you to be right?
You know, I gotta thank you, because, yeah, it was. It was pretty wonderful, I gotta say.
I think that's really the only thing that matters here today.
Thank you. Thank you for my time, John.
With that said, guys, we are on Facebook. Be sure to like, share,
Now
and comment
finish
on...
the outro!
I was doing it, bitch! Jesus Christ! Fuck's sake! I was doing my Vanna White bullshit, and then you're like, finish the outro. Well, motherfucker, I think I was doing it. Jesus Christ! Alright, for the 5th fucking time, if you didn't hear it, which
Hey
I'm
man,
sure
you don't
did.
need to start over every time!
Well, I'm going to, Ashton, because our subscribers here deserve quality. I started the job. I'm doing the damn job. Which is
Tweet
what
off, TWitWoW on Facebook, the TWitWoW subreddit, and both of us on Twitter.
Okay, now you're taking my job. You know what? You do it. You do the outro this week.
I just did it!
Yeah. You got okay, all right, fine. All right, then. We'll see you again for our... Oh, wait, no. I can't do that because you didn't specify our Twitter handles. God, you amateur. I am at John_TWitWoW. That is JOHN.
You know, I kind of feel like maybe I should add our Twitter handles to our TWitWoW background so that people can see them rather than having to hear you repeat them every week.
You know what? That's actually the most thoughtful interruption you've had in this entire thing.
Well, I'm glad I got at least one in.
I co-sign onto that readily. You know what? I mean, are you gonna do it for this background for this episode, or do you think maybe like next week, or like when do you think you'll get on that? Because I think
let's just be a little more general and say 1,000 subscriber special.
Okay, yeah. Let's keep plugging that special because you know it's gonna happen, people. I mean, we are plugging right along. We couldn't thank you guys anymore for it.
I mean, granted, it's still a couple months away, but it feels kind of inevitable, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So I am at John_TWitWoW. Again, that is JOHN_TWitWoW. This guy over here is apond404. That's the letter A. Pond, P-O-N-D, the body of water, 404.
Did you just laugh at my last name?
I did, because of pollution. I mean, what kind of pond are you? Are you polluted? Do you have geese? I mean, what the fuck? You never even explained that.
Oh.
No, you never even explained it. I'm just saying, like, there are different kinds of ponds. The fuck kind of pond are you? It's a legitimate question.
I'm not, and I'm not a physical pond. That's just my last name, John.
You know, I think you're lying, but you know, that's just me. That's just one man's opinion.
Have you ever heard a pond speak? Because I speak, and I'm not a physical pond.
What if you're one of those morphing twin types, and you have like Wonder Twins? That's what it was, and you have one of those rings.
Twins. Wow.
Look, I'm dated, okay? I don't know things.
Such a filthy casual.
Oh my, don't you even. What's solipsistic? Read a book. And as far as all of you...
Why do you keep on bringing up synapsids?
Oh my, this bitch. Alright, guys, we will see you again for our Lucha Underground live reactions, and then followed by our... What was that?
I said yes! I'm excited about Lucha Underground Mill versus Matanza!
You should, because it's going to be a clash of the ages, and then we're going to give a far more substantive discussion that is more than me and Ashton having to change our wardrobe after Mill versus Matanza on our Lucha Underground TWitWoW review. So guys, thanks for the laughs, thanks for the support as always, we love you, tune in, and peace out.